couldn't have been more obvious.
All right.
Republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. I'm going to start with our organizational appointments. And then we have a few items of business that we need to take care of. So, calling the meeting to order, all trustees are present. I'll go through the appointments, and if I could get them moved by a trustee and seconded, that would be ideal. My first one is to appoint trustee Gray as deputy mayor. The next one is our acting village justice.
I'd like to make a motion that Michael Kozlowski be hereby appointed as acting village trustee for a term of 1 year to serve at the salary is adjusted by the board.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved. Next.
I'd like to make a motion that Kathleen Howe be appointed as clerk to the village justice for a term of 1 year at a salary adjusted by the board of trustees.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? So moved.
Make a motion to, that Kristen Bode be, and she is hereby appointed as part-time clerk to the village justice for a term of 1 year to serve as such a salary adjusted by the board of trustees.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The next appointment I'm pulling back until next meeting pending additional information. Next is Will Seiss.
I'd like to make a motion that Will Seiss be appointed as a member of the zoning board of appeals for a term of 5 years to serve without compensation.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We got lots of seconds tonight. Next, Jamie.
I'll make a motion to appoint James Sedman B. and is hereby appointed as the chair of the zoning board of appeals for a term of 1 year to serve as such without compensation.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Make a motion that Cassandra Valaquat be, and she is hereby appointed clerk to the zoning board of appeals for a term of 1 year to serve as such at salary as adjusted by the board of trustees.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that Joel Malone be and is hereby appointed as member of the planning board for a term of 5 years, to serve as such without compensation.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that Dave Hogg be.
Abstain. Did you abstain? I didn't hear an aye.
I said aye.
Oh, okay.
I will abstain from the next one.
Make a motion that Dave Hogg be and is hereby appointed as an alternate member of the planning board for a term of 2 years, service such without compensation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
I have to abstain. That's my brother-in-law.
Opposed? So moved. Next, Eric.
I'll make a motion to appoint Eric Busker B. and is hereby appointed as chair of the planning board, a term of 1 year to serve as such without compensation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So moved. Kathleen?
I'd like to make a motion that Kathleen Howe be appointed clerk of the planning board for a term of 1 year to serve as such at a salary adjusted by the board of trustees.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
I abstained. Yeah, thank you. Should have caught that earlier.
Joe
I was
Talbot?
gonna ask you.
Make a motion that Joe Talbot be and is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the traffic safety committee for a term of 1 year to serve as such without.
I'm moving it. Oh, I'm sorry. I move them.
You're seconding, George.
Yes,
Second thing, okay,
yeah,
sorry.
my
My
bad.
bad. Read, George.
I move that Joe Talbot be and hereby is appointed to serve as member of Traffic Safety Committee for a term of 1 year to serve without compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. That Nick Massarone be and he is hereby appointed to serve as member of Traffic Safety Committee for a term of 1 year to serve as such without compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. That Ryan Kedzier be and he is hereby appointed to serve as member of the Traffic Safety Committee, DPW, for the term of 1 year to serve without compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That police officer Jeremy Ecker he is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Traffic Safety Committee, Police, for a term of 1 year to serve without compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That Police Chief Adam Halfinger be and he is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Traffic Safety Committee, Police, for a term of 1 year to serve as such without compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Move that Fire Chief David Wood be and hereby appointed to serve as member of the Traffic Safety Committee, Fire, for a term of 1 year to serve as such without compensation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. That Police Chief Adam Halfinger be and he is hereby appointed to serve as chairman of the Traffic Safety Committee for a term of 1 year to serve as such without compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That Tom Melander be and he is hereby appointed to serve as member of Traffic Safety Committee, DLT, for a term of 1 year to serve as such without compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Move that Gordon LaVille be and hereby is appointed to serve as a member of the Examining Board of Plumbers for a term of 2 years to serve without compensation.
Second.
Approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Move that Chris McMore be and he is hereby appointed.
What, are these us? That last one and us should be us, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, just going back, I'll make a motion that Gordon LaVille is hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Examining Board of Plumbers for a term of 2 years to serve as such without compensation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you do the next one?
Yep, make a motion that Chris McMore be and hereby appointed to serve as a member of the Housing Authority Committee for a term of 5 years to serve as such without compensation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we're back to you.
I'm gonna do it right this year. That to appoint trustee Cook as marriage officer for a 1 year term to serve without compensation. It only took 4 appointments and we got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Second.
Yeah, who seconded it? Heather?
Second? I thought you did, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. I hereby appoint Beverly Clark as a historian for a term of 1 year to serve without compensation.
Second.
I hereby appoint Bruce Kohout to serve as community garden coordinator for a term of 1 year. The following appointments: the budget committee, the entire board, employee relations. I did make a change to share with this. The mayor and for fire, trustee Brown; for police, the mayor and trustee Cook; for DPW, parks and court, trustee Solo Truck; for administration, trustee Gray. Finance committee, trustee Brown and trustee Solo Truck. Public works, trustee Solo Truck; building and grounds, Mayor Butcherferro; police, trustee Cook; fire, trustee Brown; city of Schenectady, Mayor Butcherferro; county of Schenectady, trustee Solo Truck; recycling coordinator, trustee Gray; town board, Mayor Butcherferro and trustee Cook. Excuse me. Zoning Board of Appeals, trustee Brown. Plumbers Examining Board, Mayor Butcherferro. Public Health, Mayor Butcherferro and trustee Brown. Planning Board, trustee Solochuk. Village Business District, trustee Cook. County Watershed Rules, Historic Preservation, trustee Solochuk. County Watershed Rules and Regulations, trustee Gray. Special Events excluding fireworks, trustee Brown. Fireworks, trustee Cook. Senior Freedom Park Foundation, trustee Cook. Senior Center, Mayor Butcherferro. Clerk Treasurer, trustee Cook. Trustee Solochuk, Court, trustee Solochuk. Building Inspector, trustee Gray. Police Reform Committee, trustee Gray. Municipal Building Project Phase 2, trustee Solochuk.
I'll make a motion to approve that entire slate. You need that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, so moved.
Did I hear, was there discussion on that? Did you have something, Justin?
Nope.
Okay.
In previous years, we did have a school district. I think we're not going.
Right,
Make a motion, the public official bonds are, and they are hereby established to be in the following amounts for designated officers. Village clerk treasurer, $1 million, deputy village clerk treasurer, 100,000. Deputy village clerk, 100,000, deputy village treasurer, 100,000. Clerk to the village justice, 100,000, village justice, 100,000, acting village justice, 100,000.
Second.
any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
I will make a motion that the Daily Gazette is and is hereby named as the official newspaper of the Village of Scotia,
Thank you, Erica.
beginning this date. Welcome and thank you, Erica.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Howard Burton.
Next is the bank.
I'd like to make a motion that First National Bank of Scotia, the Bank of America, the KeyBank, TD Bank, and New York Class be and they hereby are designated as the official depositories of the Village of Scotia for monies received by the clerk treasurer and other village officials for the official year beginning this date.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
I'll make a motion that Maria Schmitz, clerk treasurer, is directed to pay principal and interest on all bonds and obligations of the Village of Scotia as they become due and payable, including the village share of social security, health insurance, dental insurance, contract lease and rental payments, utility and phone bills, postage, freight, and express charges.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
So we need to read this whole thing? Can you just bundle it? I'll make a motion that the mayor, attorney, and trustees attend the various conferences listed out in the agenda.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
Is that all right, Lydia?
so moved.
Great.
I move that to nominate Police Chief Adam Halfinger and the Fire Chief, Dave Wood, to serve as members of the Town of Glenville's Public Safety Board for a one-year term without such compensation.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the motion, trustee.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Trustees is determined to pay the rate set and adjusted by the IRS per mile as reimbursement to officers and employees of the village who use their personal automobiles for performing their official duties on behalf of the village.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I'll make a motion that the mayor and board of trustees appoint Laura Bull as chair and appoint board members Abigail Bernard, Jenny Mancini, and Adrian Sikorsky to the Scotia Fireworks Committee.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Make a motion, whereas the Board of Trustees has recently revitalized the Village Ethics Committee and made appointments to the Ethics Board on March 12th, 2025, and whereas Village Code provides in pertinent part that the Ethics Committee shall consist of at least 3 members, all who reside in the village of Scotia. A majority of such members shall be persons other than village employees, but the board shall include at least 1 member who is elected or appointed to be village employee.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next is to review the procurement policy. It's in our packet. Did anyone have any questions on the prior to conversation?
Can you just kind of review the
Yep.
changes?
Yep. So the major changes with the procurement policy, and Adam, correct me if I missed something, is that that following current practices, the purchase amounts that could be done under the different levels of procurement. So where you needed 3 written policies, or where we needed 3, we needed an RFP, or where we didn't need an RFP, those amounts have changed. So that goods and purchases at the lowest price, because all that stays the same. Contracts over $20,000, public works, contracts over $35,000 would be secured by use of written requests for proposals, written quotations, verbal quotations, and other methods. The other one that changed was items that are not subject to competitive bidding pursuant to general municipal law, purchase contracts under $20,000, and public works under $35,000. And then the summary of this, I think the easiest way to look at it is if you, on the second page, the following method of purchase will be used when requiring by this policy in order to achieve the highest savings. Estimated purchase contract between $2,500 and $4,999, 2 verbal quotations between $5,000 and $19,999, 3 written facts or written requests, or a written request for proposals. Estimated estimates for the public works, $2,500 to $4,999, 2 verbal quotations, and for $5,000 to $34.99, 3 written or fax quotations, or a written request for proposal.
And just to, reiterate, so, we're of course staying with what the state law requires, 20,000 for purchase of goods, 35,000 for public works. We still will be going out for getting sealed bids. It's for the lesser amounts where we have discretion.
Yeah.
This policy hadn't been changed in many, many years, so we've
1992.
changed, what's that?
1992.
So we've changed those levels.
Okay.
because, you know,
Yeah, it's only the lower ones that
Yeah.
have been.
So just want to make sure that we, appropriately accommodate for that section 4 here. The documentation is required for each action, even though the limits have changed a little bit. Let's just make sure we keep the documentation intact or even better.
So the numbers that are in red under estimated amount of purchase contract, why are those in red? Were those were the ones that were changed?
Yeah, that was my read on it.
Yeah, I sent an email.
So
with the whole thing.
500,
Yeah.
4,900. So my only concern with that lower amount is that's when you start getting into a lot of vehicle type repairs, which oftentimes accrue change order requests over the life cycle of that, or over that process. So, through 2 verbal quotations, it doesn't actually have some of the specific detail within the process for those change orders. And something that may start out at $4,000 could easily become a $6,000 or $7,000 purchase with certain specialized upfitting. So I'm a little worried about just having verbal quotations for $2,500 to $5,000 on certain things.
Yeah, I just think we should just definitely document those, right? If there is a verbal quotation for. If there's two of them documented, this person, this date. Approved or said this much, that's what they're responsible for. I mean, I agree the language for change order, is there any language for change order? Lydia?
There is not, I mean, well, I don't believe, but, I mean, the nature of a change order is supposed to be something you do not anticipate.
Right.
Okay,
So, if you're, you know,
And some of this stuff is handled through professional services contracts rather than procurement.
So, I mean, it's from my time on the finance committee, doing the audit of claims. You know, you see a lot of these things coming in over $5,000, you know, but I've always questioned like what the original amount was. And prior to this change, it was requiring 3 written estimates. And the written estimates, you know, were itemized in many ways. So, you know, now going to verbal quotations, you know, not having that itemized amount, you know, with a lot of upfitting, whether it's a DPW vehicle, a police car, or even a fire truck, there's a lot of unknown variables. There could be a change if you're doing changeovers from software. You know, if a vendor comes in at $4,000 and then not actually doing any kind of like written thought out work of it, it increases the likelihood of a changeover. And now you're going into, you know, a $6,000, $7,000 amount at the end that, quite frankly, if you just took the extra time to go out and get those 3 written orders, it's a lot easier to compare apples to apples. I just think it undermines competition for business.
What was the numbers?
It was the same before. It was to 3,000, was too verbal. So
Yeah.
it always had the potential for that same situation.
Yeah, either way. I guess that's the question is like, is this part of the discussion? Like, are we speculating about a problem that is one that you anticipate encountering, or are we trying to, I guess, like, is that something that we should be planning and adjusting for, or do you think that's not a thing?
I don't know what you mean.
The
Well, like,
times that I've
What
had
Justin's saying, where it's like,
adjustments-
we've got change orders and stuff, should we be, is that I guess at the ground level, like, in what you're dealing with, like, is that something that's, you
The only
anticipate?
time that we have change orders with vehicle repairs is when it's an insurance claim. And then usually the insurance claim will cover. But I don't anticipate, I
asked this initially like a year ago when I took over as chief. I just wanted to be able to purchase what you could purchase in 1992 in 2025.
Yeah, right.
So, like the amounts have changed and
Yeah.
if you have to, like, obviously you're still looking for the best deal. I'm not just gonna buy anything, but it's easier to like,
Yeah, we shouldn't be looking at 1992 price thresholds in a 2025 policy.
And your concern is a little bit different. Your concern is that something comes in at 4,500 and then all of a sudden they come back to us and say, it's 6,500.
Yeah, you know, because a verbal quote is just literally, oh yeah, so I can do this work, I'm just gonna say, you know, $4,500. And you're kind of expecting the vendor to be doing that itemized look in his head. It's not a science when you give a verbal quote. You know,
I honestly, like, it says verbal quote, everyone gives great quotes, especially with emails. I don't know last time I've gotten a verbal quote, because everything you do is through email. So you ask for a quote, someone sends you back something in email. Do you recall last time you got a verbal quote on anything? Everything's through email now.
So then should we be not referring to it in the policies as a verbal quote?
That's how I looked at a bunch of different policies in coming to these amounts and get conservative amounts.
Right.
That's how it's written in every policy is the lower amount is called to verbal then 3.
They still refer to it as verbal. I mean,
Yes.
in 1992, there was no internet. I mean, like, there was no email. Like, my point is, like, that's why I'm like, what is it? Like, right? Like,
But in terms of like.
why don't we put that they can fax it order?
Change order and somebody forgot to say, oh, and we're gonna need this done. Whereas if there's a vehicle that needs repair, I think it's standard that any repair shop will say, until we take the car apart,
Right.
we don't know really what's in there. This is what we think has to be fixed. But until it's opened up, and that's what happens. It's what we're-
Yeah,
It's been 3 years since I've done the audit of claims, but I remember at one point with one particular vendor, the number of change orders that would happen was pretty significant. And almost to the point where it bumped it out of the category. So, and it happened once or twice. So again, I trust. It's just a concern. I mean.
You can tag in anytime you want into the other claims.
Yeah, I feel comfortable on behalf of the finance committee agreeing with trustee Solartruck. If you want to jump back in,
Tag in.
no problem. No problem.
Maybe appointment. Is it okay to move forward?
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to accept the revised procurement policy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So moved. Okay.
Meeting schedule.
Meeting schedule. We would have in front of them. Can I get a motion to adopt the 2026 meeting schedule?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any questions?
One thing I would actually like to do, we changed about, a year and a half ago to 6:30 start time with the hope of actually getting more engagement. Here we are a year and a half later, engagement's still the same as it was when we were at 7 o'clock meeting time. I personally think that 6:30 is actually more of a hardship time for folks, especially families coming home, may not get out of work at 6 or picking up their kids from school after school programs. So I'd like to propose an amendment to have the village board of trustee meetings go back to the original time of 7 PM instead of 6:30.
So just changing the village board meetings, the
Correct.
second meeting of the month to 7 o'clock.
Everything else we keep at 6?
Yep,
Thoughts?
and it's mainly because of privilege of the board.
6:30 or 7 is either one is fine with me. So sure. Yeah. I can second that amendment. So sorry, I will make a motion to accept the 2026 Village of Scotia meeting schedule as amended.
I'll second.
Any more questions? You will notice that I did mark the second trustee work session as noted, as needed, because sometimes we don't need those. And also you will notice that on the April and July meetings, we do have back-to-back meetings. Just to make people aware of that.
I mean, the second work session, we've been setting
Yeah,
aside this
we have, I just put
strategic
them
planning
in.
stuff.
I
and
just put
village
that.
calls.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next, to adopt the Village of Scotia fee schedule. You'll notice that there were some changes that I had inadvertently left off, and then a couple of additional changes that the board had asked me, what was consistent with other areas, and we did find that there were a number of fees in the building department that we were significantly lower than our neighboring communities and actually are still lower in many cases, but I did speak with the building department, along with, Ryan, and we did come up with some modifications to those fee schedules. And the other one that you will notice is that there was a request by, Ryan in conversation that our non-resident pavilion reservation fees should be increased. On the, our Lions Pavilion, and this is still significantly lower than
Yeah, still,
other,
yeah, still, it's still a bargain.
still a bargain.
And I still don't know why we're having non-resident, like dog park fee. There shouldn't be any non-residents. In my humble opinion.
I'm okay with non-residents using dog park.
What's that?
I'm okay.
Our dog park exists on the border.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. You need a motion.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended 2026 fee schedule,
I'll second.
Okay,
right, 2026.
next is to designate, all in favor?
Aye.
That's how I did it. Opposed, so moved. Next is the Holiday on the Avenue.
We're making a motion to acknowledge Holiday on the Ave as a village event.
For what reason? Dave,
We've always, I had identified these events as, being acknowledged by the village.
well, previously it was for insurance purposes and that's what the resolution stated at the time. So why is it? What's the purpose now?
I have no purpose in doing it other than the historical appointing of them.
Well, we're not designating it, so
We're not
we
designating.
shifted the language. We're sort of acknowledging it as a village event as opposed to designating.
This is what the resolution says.
I know, yeah. We talked before the meeting, so
So
that's the motion on the floor. We don't have to vote for it, but the motion is made.
to,
I'll
To-
second.
to acknowledge, right, the change in.
Yeah,
On that date,
but why? What is it, what liability is the village obtaining by designating it a holiday on the Ave, a village event? Previously, we had to do it for insurance purposes. What's the reason for it now? Trustee Cook is raising his hand, so maybe he
Right.
has an explanation.
So it's my understanding, based on the conversation I had with the mayor, that our insurance company doesn't require us to make this resolution anymore. Historically, it's been acknowledged as a village special event, even though the village special event committee was not an acknowledged municipal committee. I'm making a recommendation that we adopt this resolution to acknowledge the hard work of the village residents that have put their time into this, with the knowledge and understanding that next year we need to have a better framework in place
Right.
for village special events, in formally acknowledging the village special events committees like we did for the fireworks. Obviously, the effects of this meeting do not take place until 2026. Holiday in the Ave is literally in 2 weeks. So I think we need to acknowledge the work that the village residents have put into this and look to the future, and on the next agenda item, what that future looks like for village.
Yeah, so similarly, since we're in discussion, this group of people pulled together last minute to try to fill a gap, and they've done a remarkable job despite the last minute nature of it. So I think the least we can do is acknowledge it as an event for their hard work, and to make sure that while our insurance is not legally requiring us to do this, I still feel more comfortable with us formally saying, yes, we know this is happening. This is a village event. We've been part of the process. This isn't just something happening in the village.
Yeah, I think it's much an awareness that we're accepting the street being
Yeah,
closed.
exactly.
And paying for the additional services that are needed to produce
Yeah.
the event.
Yep,
For this event, for this year.
yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so moved. Next is a discussion of village events. Before we do that, let me do that one resolution for the,
It's just a one audit of claims. It's just approval of an audit of claims.
Make a motion to approve the one out of the claims for the December 1st.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved, okay.
The retirement system amended our invoice, which is the reason for tonight's
Mm.
audit.
Okay. Discussion of village special events.
Do we have time for that?
I think we can at least set a framework for it. Okay? Because I know-
Yeah, so as, I suppose I can start as liaison. I know we're limited on the amount of time we can talk about this tonight. But we have a couple of options ahead of us that I just sort of want us to put on our radar for future discussion. We've had some conversations in the past about whether or not it makes sense, and if it does, under what structure does the village establish a special events committee? Trustee Cook has put in a ton of time and effort on how the framework of how that could happen. We also at the same time have proposed, I proposed, that a simpler way maybe to do this would be to just say, if any events are going to occur in the village, they have to be sponsored by some entity, a civic organization, nonprofit, whatever it is. And then there would be a guide, what am I trying to say? Like a toolkit, right? That basically says, if you want to put on a special event in the village, here's what you have to do. And it still has to funnel through the liaison, meaning those people would have to submit something to us to say, we want to do this event and we've used your toolkit. Here's what we've outlined. Because then the idea behind that would be that the village would outline, okay, based on a certain amount of people and or logistics, that would be the liaison role. Based on that, we think the cost of providing services is blank. And that group would have to figure out a way to offset those costs to the village. But that would allow the possibility, future discussion, for that group to take whatever remains and fundraise, do whatever they want as long as the village's costs were met. One of the things we could do is a hybrid model, where maybe if a group wants to do an event, they follow all of those set of guidelines. If there are events that are important to the village, have no direct sponsor, those could be situations where we could implement whatever structural kind of oversight that the village wants to put in place for it. So my proposal would be, maybe we can do both, but that would just be what I would want to put on the table. But I definitely want to hear from Trustee Cook, because he spent so much time and effort on this in terms of the framework of how the village could oversee this.
So I'm actually I have very little expectation that model number 2 would work for the existing village special events. Historically, looking back on where all our village special events came from, it's from model 2. But civic organizations and fraternal organizations are dealing with fewer volunteers, fewer members, and with that fewer members comes the fewer resources. And not all civic organizations also have 501c3 status, making fundraising impossible, if not just very difficult. So I have very little hope that a model number 2 would work into the future. I think the Village of Scotia, was on the right idea with having a village special events committee, where, this special events committee was responsible for stewarding it. Unfortunately, that never became an officially recognized committee, fully empowered by the village board of directors to handle events in a streamlined fashion. The village has historically managed the Memorial Day parade, and with the volunteers that oftentimes do come from the civic organizations. Goshen Rotary in large number for the parade. And then also, looking at what we have in place for our fireworks. Having a village appointed committee for the village special events that this board sees valuable to the community with great public benefit. I think that is the way to go. Now, the toolkit idea, the hybrid way, say someone wants to start, an artisan market or a farmer's market. Providing a toolkit with an outline on how they can move forward on some of these activities, I think is a good idea. We already have some mechanism of that in a mass gathering permit. The mass gathering permit triggers a public safety response, which could also trigger a response in terms of price. But I think looking at the staple events that we have, Holiday in the Ave, Cruise in the Ave, Memorial Day, and the village fireworks, this board either needs to say we are all in on these events or we're not in on these.
Did you say we don't have to?
We do.
We do have to.
We do. We have to make a determination. Are these going to be village special events? That we as a village, take ownership over, or are they not? I do not see the bid at this time looking to add Holiday in the Ave or Cruise in the Ave as a bid sponsored event. They've made that loud and clear on several meetings that day. So again, we either need to be in the special events game with these 5 staple events, or we need to be out.
Can I just ask a quick question about that model that I don't know that I've asked before in this way? So if we form a special events committee and we say, okay, there's a special events committee and now it's time to convene the group planning, pick an event, the Holiday in the Ave, let's just say. And so then we would be seeking chairs, right? And so we would then appoint those chairs.
Just like we did tonight.
Right. So then in those meetings would be the back and forth we would talk about that I would say like would be in a toolkit or something would say, okay, well, how many people are we talking about? Again, we know the events that already exist, I'm less concerned about. There could be a point where because the village is running that special events committee, there's an assumption made that the village and whoever is staffing that, mainly the liaison, would be doing work to make the event happen, which is not our role. We have a very strict liaison role. My concern is that public perception could be that if those events are not great or they fail or they get canceled or whatever, that is going to reflect very poorly on the village. Whereas if it's a civic organization that's doing it and we have a liaison role, for me, that insulates that a little bit. Now, the same thing could happen with the civic organization. I'm not too naive to think that it won't. But if we have a committee and then the event doesn't go anywhere, I guess like what power do we have to say like nobody's running this event? Like
to answer your question, everyone already thinks these are village special events.
Yeah, I don't like that.
They thought the fireworks was a village
Right.
special event. And when that was in jeopardy, there was a huge uproar. So I think the end of the day is we as a board can say, we have the resources for X number of special events. If you're a civic organization wanting to put forward a new idea,
Then you're the committee.
you're the committee. And if another group of citizens want to petition us to consider a new special event, then they need to do their due diligence.
The thing I would add though, is we do have to have a second.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And we do have to have policy that this special event committee is going to do the work associated with the event, similar to what.
And again, that comes by board appointment. So when you appoint a chair, you're appointing a resident to be responsible.
No, I understand, but we have to
Yeah.
make clear what the responsibility.
I guess I know we got to end, but the other concern I just want people to chew on is like, we already had a situation where there were competing organizers for a village event.
That was not a village event.
No, I meant, an event happening in the village. That could happen with, like, we could have people saying like, I want to chair Holiday in the Ave. I want to chair Holiday in the Ave. I want to chair Holiday in the Ave.
So, again,
It's the opposite problem I'm talking about, but it's also a real one.
that's why we have a board of commissioners.
Oh, awesome. We get to
So
play
are-
favorites.
So we would, at a future meeting, say the chair of the Holiday in the Ave Special Event Committee is, drum roll, whoever it is. If there is no one steps up,
Ooh, that we can get them to like submit plans to us, whoever has the better plans and the better, and the better, I love it. All right, great, I'm in. I'm all in.
and just like.
We'll turn into like Survivor.
Volunteer committee, there is no event.
Special event Shark Tank.
So I think we're agreeing that there has to be some guidelines and policies.
Yeah,
In place.
is it okay with you guys if as an action step, if trustee Cook and I put our heads together on this and,
I was gonna suggest you to, I'm gonna send you my work. Because I have some thoughts on it too that I have to be concerned with. what
We got
the board's
this.
Responsibility is with this. So I will send you what I wrote up, just so you have it.
love it.
But
I want to make it pretty clear that if a community organization wants to be
Oh.
involved in this, they
Yeah.
have the right. to
You're the
do that.
committee then.
They
right?
can
We
be,
have a right to be in, but again, we have to be very careful that those organizations are not profiting from said special event.
right,
And that they understand the role of the village and what the village.
Well, we'll have to talk about what fundraising versus profiting looks like. So we can talk about that. We'll talk about that.
So again, this goes down, I'll happily write it out, but money comes into the village, money goes out of the village. If you need to have a stipend that comes in from sponsorships for each of these events, for a special event clerk that manages the paperwork for all this stuff coming in for these different planning groups, that's one thing. But it's this board's responsibility to evaluate, can we afford this event? We're the board that approves and adopts the budgets for these events, which can manage and set the expectations for volunteers.
and
We don't,
we set the policy of what vendors could be in and all that. They have to do the work of gathering all the
Right.
information, submitting it to the clerk's office, completed,
Okay.
on time, completed.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
You,
Second.
wait, hold on one quick second. We will take up the other item next.
Oh, okay, yep.
And motion,
Well, I already made.
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all.